We're live. Let's do
We're
it.
live. Hey, welcome everybody to a joint kind of podcast / workshop. My name is Brett Swarts. I'm the host of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, also a commercial real estate broker with EXP. I'm with my good friend, John Dwalskin. John, can you introduce yourself? Because I won't do it justice.
Hey, I'm John Dwalskin. I am a business coach, and I work with solopreneurs to Fortune 100 companies and everything in between. And used to be in the commercial real estate space for about 13 years. And you and I decided to kind of jump on and do this interactive workshop. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And John is being modest there. He was a manager of the number one or one of the top real estate investment firms, Marcus & Millichap. And that's actually part of our beginning with myself as well in my training. But, we learned a lot at Marcus & Millichap, John, about what to do, how to close deals. I like to say it's like the Navy SEALs of investment brokerage business. And it's the foundation of my entire career. Learned a lot of great things. And so we're going to be talking about the fundamentals of commercial real estate brokerage, just a few things. We obviously can't cover too much. But the first one, John, is the value of representation.
Yeah.
So John, when you hear that, what comes to mind, and what is, as a commercial real estate broker or somebody who's looking to level up their game, what's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the value of representation?
Yeah. Well, I think when you're talking about, a value prop, it's really, really important to connect to a couple things. One, the value are based on benefits, not features. I think many salespeople sell in features versus benefits. And so I think that's first and foremost, is really kind of like saying, okay, as I speak, am I speaking value benefits, or am I speaking in features, which don't really work? Next, what type of value am I actually bringing to the table? Meaning, are people able to understand and quantify, what I'm saying? Next is understanding kind of the benefits of you and the benefits of the company, right? They go hand in hand. Sometimes people weigh too much on themselves, and they're important, but they need to be able to talk about why them, and why the company. And here's a really big one too: the importance of speaking in stories, right? Too many times we learn through stories and lessons and through clients' perspectives. And so we don't necessarily want to talk about, hey, I think this and I think this and you should do this. If we're doing all the things that we just talked about, then the conversation and the consciousness and the frequency and the vibration of that talk is much higher.
Absolutely. So you talked about features and benefits, right? And then talking and seeing things in stories, as well as not just selling yourself, but selling the entire company, right? And the other part about the value piece, something I learned early on at Marcus & Millichap. It was one of the mentors in the office. And he said, the moment you know more about a person's property that you're calling on, or about some properties next door, or something that's going to solve their challenge, that's the moment you start to add value to that person that you're reaching out to, that you're trying to represent, right? It's the value of representation, meaning that you have a chance to actually solve a problem. So talk about that, John, when you first started out, or when you're training brokers in your office with cold calling and reaching out and connecting with somebody. Tell us how detailed and specialized everyone was.
Well, I think one of the things that's important to remember, Brett, is that the goal of a cold call is simply to get a meeting. And, it's nice to be able to say where we are right now that meetings are back, right? We're in this endemic where meetings, people are starting to go on meetings again, which is great. I mean, I'm loving it, and I'm loving it for people because I think people are missing it. But to be able to articulate what you specialize in and how you can specifically help someone, I think starts with a lot of the questions that you ask to position yourself as an expert. And so it's not necessarily telling, it's asking and understanding the questions that get the conversation moving, so people know you're an expert just through the questions that you actually ask. right? If I do it right, I don't have to tell them I'm an expert. It shows through my questions and then my backup questions because I understand what I'm talking about. And then I can not only answer, what's coming at me, but I can also kind of incorporate a lot of my expertise as I answer a question.
So in the beginning, when you don't necessarily A, know the questions, or B, have the track record, right? And you're just trying to get your business going, John, what were the questions that you were asking, or are you encouraging the brokers who are getting trained to ask? And how are they leveraging their mentors, right, to be able to move business forward to get that meeting? Because you're right, the goal of the cold call is to get a meeting, right? In the beginning of my career, one of the biggest mistakes I was having is I was trying to have the meeting on the phone. Right? I'm so excited about this new piece of knowledge that I know, or this deal that closed, or this ways to raise rents, or this way to market better, or this tax deferral strategy, or whatever. And I'm just telling the whole meeting on the phone. And they're on the other line going, wow, this guy's gave me some really cool stuff. Great. I'm going to take that to my other guy over here that I already know, or my CPA or whatever. Right. Thanks for the value. And boom, hang up. Right. So connect that dot of asking the question, listening for the window of opportunity, and then leveraging the mentor to get the meeting.
Well, I'm gonna work backwards because leveraging the mentor is where it really starts, right? If you don't have a mentor, you got to get a mentor, and if you can't get a mentor, then you need to hire a coach, right? And I'm not necessarily, that's not a self promotion, or you've got to do something, because I don't think you can grow in the business without mentorship. There's a lot of great books, but no book you can read other than doing the work every single day and being mentored on all the different nuances. And so it starts with the nuances. It starts with role playing every single day. To me, anybody in the residential real estate space needs to be role playing every day, whether it be 5, 10, 15 minutes. That is absolutely key, because as you're role playing, you're getting prepped for the calls. So before I hit the calls, I'm always role playing a little bit to get kind of my muscles moving. So I know, okay, I'm role playing with somebody and I'm testing out the question. I wrote out 3 questions that people asked me yesterday that I didn't know the answers to. And then I wrote them out. I went to my mentor and I said, hey, how would you answer these questions? And then how would you ask questions to get in front of them having to ask you these questions? So, right. So, so that's kind of like the first step, in my opinion, because if you can't do that step, it's very hard to understand, to listen to the windows of opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, John. And I actually want to walk through all of this. We're gonna live role play here in a second. Do you have a live link? Because we have people that are trying to get in.
I just put it in the chat box.
In the chat there. Okay, so let me do this.
Well, I have people who are in, but I'm only putting people on screen whose pictures are here, so the screen's not covered with just empty screens.
Yeah. So get your videos on, folks. There we go. There we go, Steven. There we go, Andrew.
If they, this is a show your face type of, I think, workshop.
Live link here. Okay, so we're talking. So talk about interest generator, right? So some folks might not even know what that is, but John, define interest generator, and then we're going to do a role play with that interest generator to show people what that looks like. Can you define what that is, John?
Yeah, well, an interest generator is a line that basically creates interest, right? It creates a spark of something, of somebody saying, I want to learn more, right? This is something I want to learn more. And that's the key. So it's really, really important that if you want to get somebody's attention today, it's really, really hard, right? 80% of people don't answer the phone. 80% of calls don't get returned. We are all in the business of getting people's attention. We're all in the business of trying to capture people's attention. And so if we don't do it in a way that we can create interest, then it's going to be really, really hard to get them to want to engage in a discussion with us. So an interest generator, for example, especially right now in the commercial space, could be, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Client, with everything that's going on in the market today, many clients I'm talking to because of the tax changes that are happening, specifically potential 1031 things about to change, potentially changing. If they don't see themselves holding on to a piece of property over the next 1 to 3 years, they're thinking about selling, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's exactly right. And so you need to have something that's A, going to grab their attention, B, that's going to be potentially actionable is the other part about it, right? Can they start to do something about it or start to plan to do something about it? For example, right now, Biden is proposing to eliminate or limit the 1031 exchange to a certain number. Guess what? It's a great interest generator. Hey, John, I saw you've owned this property for 5 years. Curious, have you thought about buying or selling anything in the last 6 months? And John might say,
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I've thought about it with everything that's been changing in the market.
yeah, and the reason I'm asking you that is because I know you get a lot of brokers that are asking you about buying or selling, but Biden is proposing to take away or limit the 1031 exchange. How might that affect your plan with your capital gains tax deferral should you sell?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't really, I have, are we role playing right now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought about it. But it is something that I probably need to think about, but I don't have time to think about it right now because I'm just so busy.
Okay. And so now at this point, someone might say, let me close for the meeting, right? But he just said he's so busy. This is the point I might want to bring up a little bit more pain. So John, you say you're so busy. Management, time, what are you referring to as being so busy? Because maybe I can help you out.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't have time to think about it. I just, my days are just swamped right now, especially with the world coming back.
And owning all these apartments, right? And all the rent control laws and all the challenges with trying to evict people. Man, I have a property down the street with a client. And he's got like 4 tenants that haven't paid a rent. And he says they could pay, but they're just not paying anything. Are you having challenges with renters just kind of squatting and not paying and taking advantage of the system?
No, not too badly. Not too badly. Yeah.
And so back to the sales part. So that didn't really go anywhere, right? So that little thing didn't go anywhere. So now back to the sales thing.
Yeah.
If you were to sell, John, to get out of this busyness of life, why would you sell? I mean, is there a reason even to sell right now?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I have the energy. I'm older and I don't have the energy to kind of go through the next cycle.
Yeah, I don't blame you. We just closed a deal for a similar client, and he's owned it for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And his biggest thing was he wants to spend time with the grandkids. He wants to de-stress his life. He's made his wealth, and he's kind of just ready to retire.
Yeah.
Would looking at how we help craft that deal for him and where he's at, would that be of value to you if I just sent you the deal that we just closed?
Yeah, I think so.
Excellent. So I'm gonna send that to you. But even better yet, can I come by and see you? I know that's kind of forward, but I'd love the opportunity just to meet you in person. Could I come by and just share the story with you? Because I think it's valuable along with the Biden thing what's going on, because he's facing that too. He's even considering, just paying the tax because it's going to go up by another 20%. So if I came by, would you give me 10 minutes? I know you're super busy, but would you give me 10 minutes just to walk you through what it is, what it's not, and how you can prepare to not get trapped by capital gains tax?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. All right, great. Yeah. What time works for you? Tuesday or Thursday at 10 or 12?
10 works great.
Okay, so now I'm going to open it up for a couple questions. Michelle, LaDonda, Mindy, I'm looking at people who have Janice, who have videos on. And if you want to ask a question, jump on your video. Any questions about what we just said so far? And then we can kind of dial in on that. It would be good to hear from you guys or gals.
I think it would be perfect if I had that example of that deal. That would be pretty convenient to show and prove and close on something like that.
Yeah, you see how I leveraged my mentor or the deal that I just did as a way to build credibility, but also to add value, because I want to know about that deal down the street that just closed. I bring instant credibility because I know more about that deal, obviously, because I was in the deal, than John knows, even though, so you're right, LaDonna. So that goes back to John's original point. the mentor and the person who's done it. Like if you're going to get brain surgery or ACL surgery, right? You don't want the doctor who's never done it, right? You want the doctor who has. So you're absolutely leveraging and working with a business partner aligned. And guess what I'm going to do? When I go to that meeting with John, am I going by myself? No. The moment I get off the phone call, I'm saying, I should probably already have my mentor's schedule in front of me, right? I'm booking it based upon his schedule or her schedule. And now they're going with me, right? John, tell us about bringing the mentor to the meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's critical. You know, the last thing you want to do is be in hot water and not know where to go. I think people are fine with. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback here. I think people are fine with with people who are new in any business, but you don't want yourself in a situation where you get to the meeting and you don't know the questions to ask. You don't know how to answer certain questions. And a mentor can accelerate a meeting to get to a potential next step, a potential BOV, a potential proposal, a potential listing, a potential buy side, right? There's so many elements because the mentor has ears that have heard something, dozens, hundreds, or thousands of times already, and they know where to take the conversation in a different, more effective manner. And then the mentee can kind of sit back and watch and learn, because you learn by watching in this business, and then take notes of the questions that they ask, how they respond to things, and start to almost like get ahead of like, okay, the client asked a question. This is how I would answer it. I'm saying it in my head. And then this is how the mentor answered it. Okay, well, it was either far apart or close together. And so then you want to be taking notes. So after the meeting, you and your mentor can talk and say, okay, why did you answer it this way? What did this mean? I would have answered it this way. If I did, what would have happened? And you take that experiential real life stuff and you dissect it and you'll learn from it.
100%. 100%. Any other questions right now or thoughts on the interest generator, listening for windows of opportunity, right? Closing for the meeting, bringing on a mentor. Any questions on that we can help with anybody right now? And if not, I'll just keep talking, which is great too. So I want to go to the point of understanding that it takes massive repetition. Okay.
Yeah.
Massive repetition, getting to the plate and swinging the bat. I'm telling you, cold call like a maniac, right? Even though the fear and the anxiety and oh my gosh, right, is there. And I'm telling to myself, even before I got on video, I started a podcast, started a YouTube, or sold my first commercial deal. Like, I didn't know what I was doing, right? Except for I had good trainers and good mentors that I knew I could have the confidence to lean on, who, when I bring them to the meeting, they're going to do that. But on that cold call, I am calling, by the way, is another part of it too, which I want to role play with John here to demonstrate this, that you want to make sure that when you're calling somebody, you're saying their name, and to me, with enthusiasm and as if you know them. John, I don't know if you know that, but like, let's do this right now. I want to kind of role play and then talk about it. So ring, ring.
This is John.
John.
Yes.
This is Brett Swarts, EXP commercial multifamily broker. How are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. The reason for my call is A, we just sold a property. B, there's an interest generator with Biden changing this thing. C, whatever it might be that you're talking about. And I think it's very valuable for you to hear about this. And I'm just curious, have you considered the implications for what might happen if the 1031 gets taken away?
Yeah, my team is talking about it and we're not sure, but we're in deep talks about it, really kind of looking at our portfolio.
Yeah, so I know that you own 20 deals, and one of them down the street, and by the way, next to it just sold, values that are all-time highs. And so I'm curious on your guys' side, what are some of the thoughts or some of the things that you guys are considering?
I don't know. We're considering, what we want to buy and what we want to sell over the next, 12 to 18 months. Okay.
Anything in particular that you're thinking about buying or selling?
Maybe a property and moving into some single tenant net lease.
Okay. Maybe a property moving to single tenant net lease. The ability to sell and defer might be gone with Biden, as you probably know. So when you say that, are you planning on selling and paying the tax and doing it, or what is your plan in case that goes away?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Would you like me to come out and show you how we can eliminate the need for the 1031 exchange, or find you a way to defer tax not using a 1031?
I didn't know there was another way. So if there is, I'd love to.
Okay, great. What time works for you? All I need is 30 minutes of your time. Thursday or Friday at 12 or noon?
Sound perfect. Noon is great.
Great. So you notice I didn't, by the way, if you guys know me, I sell the deferred sales trust, right? I train brokers on how to do that. I didn't say deferred sales trust, right? And I didn't even, all I said was, I'll come meet you and tell you about it, right? We'll talk about it. We'll discuss it, right? So you don't want to give away the juice. Also, in the very beginning, I said his name like I know him. I'm saying it with confidence. I'm saying it with enthusiasm, right? And I'm trying to invite him into the conversation. When I first called people, they're like, hello, John? Yeah. Hey, this is Brett. I'm calling you from my company here. And I want to come out, like, I have something of value for you, John. And I want to invite him in with energy and enthusiasm, right? And confidence. And until you're seeing that and hearing that, it's hard to pick up on that. But again, at Marcus and Millichap, when I was watching people do this, you start to develop your own voice and your own way of, and your own rhythm of doing things. But it's important to come knowing that you have something of value to offer. Now, if you don't have something of value to offer, you don't have that interest rate, or you don't have that mentor, again, it's hard to have the confidence to make these calls, right? Does that make sense, John? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to go back to and just comment on one thing when you talked about massive repetition. This business is a numbers game, and commitment to, and some of the things, I'm going to echo some of the things you said, the courage, the fear, the confidence, this, that comes with massive repetition. And that massive repetition, whether it's, 20, 30, 40, whatever your number is per day, lower the bar and hit your numbers. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And if you're hitting your metrics every day, and you have the mentorship, and you're role playing and you're practicing, it's still going to take 1 to 3 years to really build a consistent pipeline of business, right? And so it's a lot of hard work. And so you got everything we're talking about today is so important to be in alignment with all of it on a consistent basis.
Yep, 100%. So we're going to be back next week, and we'll talk a little bit about underwriting. We'll talk a little bit about the actual meeting that you're going to go on. Okay. And so, but this is recorded. You can share this with folks. Any last questions? We got 60 seconds for one question. If anyone has a question. That's okay if you don't. John and I aren't scared of it. We can, or we're, if you're open. Stephen, we wish we could have saw you. Andrew, Gail, but LaDonna, Mindy, Michelle, Janice, and I'm not sure if there's anyone else, but we appreciate, 3 rules of interest generators, news to clients, relevant to client, lead to conversion about property from M&M sales training notes. Okay. So Janice, thank you for sharing that. Not sure if there's a question there, but yes. Okay. That's all. So I think we're off. We're good.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Bye. Have a good day.